Min-Jae bolted upright in bed, screaming, "Don't leave, please, Soo-jin." His body thrashed violently, knocking the lamp off the bedside table. It shattered on the floor, plunging the room into darkness except for the faint city glow through the curtains. Seo Yoon-Hee grabbed his shoulders, her heart hammering as if it wanted out of her chest. "Min-Jae, wake up, look at me." He didn't hear her. His eyes were open but empty, glassy with terror. Tears streamed down his face as his hands clawed at the air, as if trying to pull someone back from the edge of a cliff. "I'm sorry," he sobbed. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." Yoon-Hee froze. He had never cried like this when awake. Not once in their 7-year marriage. She shook him harder. "Min-Jae." Suddenly his body went limp. He collapsed back onto the mattress, chest heaving. His eyes finally focused, landing on her face like a stranger seeing her for the first time. "Yoon-Hee." Her throat burned. "Who is Soo-jin?" Silence. Too long. Min-Jae looked away, breathing unevenly. "I don't know what you're talking about." "You screamed her name," she said, her voice sharp despite the tremor underneath. "Again." He squeezed his eyes shut. "I don't remember." That was the lie. She could feel it. Yoon-Hee slid out of bed, her hands shaking as she picked up her phone from the floor. As Min-Jae turned away from her, curling into himself like a child, she stared at the banking app glowing on her screen. Numbers so large they had stopped feeling real years ago. Her thumb hovered, then typed a message she never imagined she'd send. "Take all my money. Every account. Every asset. Just leave my husband alone." She hit send. She didn't know yet who she was bargaining with. By morning, Min-Jae acted as if nothing had happened. He sat at the kitchen island sipping tea, reading the news on his tablet, calm and polite, asking her if she wanted eggs or toast. Yoon-Hee watched him like she was looking at a man she'd never met. "You barely slept," she said. "I'm fine." "You screamed again." He paused just for half a second, then smiled. "Bad dreams." "You cried." That made him look up. "Did I?" "Yes." He stared at her, confusion flickering across his face, followed by something darker, fear. "I don't remember crying." Yoon-Hee said nothing. She had learned that silence was sometimes louder than confrontation. At the office, she sat through meetings without hearing a word. Board members spoke, numbers flashed on screens, assistants whispered reminders, but her mind stayed in that dark bedroom, echoing with a name that didn't belong to her. Soo-jin. By afternoon she couldn't take it anymore. She called his therapist. "I need to know what's happening to my husband," Yoon-Hee said flatly. "Now." The therapist hesitated. "Mr. Kang has severe night terrors linked to unresolved trauma." "Trauma from what?" "I can't disclose." "Then I'll have him sign whatever you need," Yoon-Hee snapped. "But if you already know and didn't tell me, that's a problem." Pause. "He refuses to discuss events prior to 15 years ago." 15 years. That night, Min-Jae screamed again. This time Yoon-Hee didn't wake him. She sat beside him, listening. "I tried to stop it," he whispered in his sleep. "Please? I didn't know they'd die." Her blood ran cold. The next morning, she confronted him. "People died," she said, standing in front of the door so he couldn't leave. He went pale. "What?" "You said it. Last night." Min-Jae rubbed his temples. "Yoon-Hee, please. You're imagining things." "I'm not," she said quietly. "And I won't pretend anymore." His hands dropped to his sides. "I don't remember my dreams." "That's not an answer." He looked at her then, really looked, and something inside him cracked. "Some doors shouldn't be opened." "By who?" she asked. "You or me?" He didn't reply. That afternoon, Yoon-Hee hired a private investigator. "Find her," she said, sliding a name across the desk. "Han Soo-jin." The investigator frowned. "That's a common name." "I know," Yoon-Hee said. "That's why you're being paid well." Days passed. The nightmares continued. Same name. Same apologies. Same date circled on the calendar, every year without fail. Then the investigator called. It's strange, he said. There's almost nothing on her. Almost? There are records up until 15 years ago. Then, nothing. No death certificate. No relocation. She just disappears. Yoon-Hee closed her eyes. What happened 15 years ago? She asked. The investigator exhaled slowly. A construction collapse. Quietly buried. Several fatalities. One survivor listed as untraceable. Yoon-Hee's grip tightened around the phone. And my husband? There was a pause. He worked on that project. The room seemed to tilt. That night, Min-Jae screamed louder than ever. And somewhere across the city, a woman who had been silent for 15 years finally felt someone searching for her. Yoon-Hee didn't sleep that night. She sat at the dining table long after Min-Jae retreated into their bedroom, files spread before her like pieces of a crime scene. Photos. Old permits. Newspaper clippings scanned from archives that no one read anymore. 15 years ago, a mixed-use building collapsed during construction. Official cause, soil instability after heavy rain. Unofficial reality, rushed approvals, altered materials, deadlines forced by investors. Min-Jae's name appeared once. Not as a lead engineer. Just a junior signature at the bottom of a revised safety report. She remembered him telling her stories from those early years, how powerless he felt, how afraid he was of losing his job. She had admired his honesty back then. Now it felt heavier. Her phone buzzed. The investigator. I found something else, he said. A complaint filed 2 days before the collapse. By who? A woman named Soo-jin. Yoon-Hee's breath caught. What did it say? She warned the site supervisor about cracks forming on the west pillar. Said her brother worked there and feared something was wrong. And? It was ignored. Yoon-Hee closed her eyes. What happened to her brother? She asked, though she already knew. He died on site. The call ended, but the weight didn't lift. At dawn, Min-Jae came into the kitchen. He stopped when he saw the documents. You know, he said softly. She looked up. You let me marry you without telling me. I wanted to forget, he said. I tried. You screamed her name for 7 years, Yoon-Hee replied. That's not forgetting. He swallowed. I thought she died. That doesn't make it better. No, he whispered. It makes it worse. She stood. Tell me everything. Min-Jae sat slowly like his body had aged decades overnight. She came to the site, he began. Soo-jin. She was angry. Terrified. She begged me to look again at the reports. Did you? I wanted to, he said. But my supervisor said the changes were approved. He said if I pushed back, the blame would fall on me if delays cost money. So you stayed silent. His voice broke. I was 24. I thought I was nothing. And people died. Yes. Yoon-Hee pressed her lips together, fighting the urge to scream. What did you say to her? She asked. I promised to check, he said. I lied. Tears slid down his face. The next day the building fell. I ran to the site. Bodies everywhere. I saw her screaming her brother's name. He gripped the table. She looked at me like I killed him. Did she confront you? That night, he said. She slapped me. She asked me how much my silence was worth. Yoon-Hee felt sick. I told her I was sorry, he whispered. I told her I didn't know it would happen. And then? She said, you'll remember me. His hands shook. I never saw her again. Yoon-Hee turned away, her chest tight. You never turned yourself in, she said. There was no crime on paper, he replied. Everything was buried. Silence stretched between them. Finally she spoke. I'm going to find her. Min-Jae's head snapped up. No. She deserves answers. She deserves peace, he said desperately. Please. Don't do this. Yoon-Hee's voice hardened. You don't get to decide that. That afternoon, she left the house without telling him where she was going. The investigator led her to a narrow apartment above a closed laundromat. The walls were cracked. The stairs smelled of rust and old water. She works nights, he said. Different name now. Yoon-Hee nodded and climbed alone. When the door opened, the woman staring back at her looked nothing like the angry figure in the reports. Soo-jin was thinner. Older. Her eyes carried a tired calm that came from surviving too much. Yes? Soo-jin asked. Yoon-Hee bowed slightly. I'm Seo Yoon-Hee. The name landed heavy. Soo-jin's eyes sharpened. You're his wife. Yes. Silence. Then Soo-jin stepped aside. Come in. The apartment was bare. No photos. No decorations. Just survival. I didn't come to threaten you, Yoon-Hee said quickly. She pulled out the bank card, holding it out with both hands. Take this. Take all of it. Just, please leave my husband alone. Soo-jin stared at the card, then laughed softly. Not cruel. Exhausted. You think I'm haunting him? She asked. He screams your name every night, Yoon-Hee said, her voice cracking. I'm begging you. Soo-jin's smile faded. I never went near him. Yoon-Hee froze. What? I left the city that week, Soo-jin said. I changed my name. I never contacted him. Then why? He's haunting himself, Soo-jin interrupted. Yoon-Hee's hands trembled. I waited, Soo-jin continued. Years. For him to come forward. To admit what he did. He never did. She pushed the card back. I don't want your money. Then what do you want? Yoon-Hee whispered. Soo-jin looked straight at her. The truth. Out loud. Outside, thunder rolled. And for the first time Yoon-Hee understood. This wasn't about revenge. It was about release. Yoon-Hee stayed seated long after Soo-jin retreated to the kitchen. Rain tapped against the window like impatient fingers, filling the silence neither of them seemed ready to break. You still love him? Yoon-Hee finally asked. Soo-jin didn't answer right away. She returned with 2 cups of tea, setting one down carefully. I loved the man I thought he was, she said. The one who would protect workers, not protect himself. Yoon-Hee nodded. He's been punishing himself for 15 years. That's not justice, Soo-jin replied. That's avoidance. The words cut deeper than accusation. Yoon-Hee stood. Come with me. Soo-jin stiffened. Where? To him, Yoon-Hee said. Tonight. Soo-jin shook her head. No. If you don't, Yoon-Hee said quietly, he will keep screaming your name until he dies. That landed. Soo-jin looked away. And what if seeing me destroys him? Then at least it will be honest, Yoon-Hee replied. They drove through the rain in silence. At home, Min-Jae was pacing when they entered. He stopped when he saw Soo-jin. His face drained of color. You're alive, he whispered. Soo-jin met his eyes. You never asked. His knees buckled. He grabbed the back of a chair to stay upright. I thought you died, he said, tears spilling freely now. I thought I killed you too. You killed my brother, Soo-jin said, her voice steady but sharp. Don't rewrite it. Yoon-Hee stepped back, letting the space belong to them. I was afraid, Min-Jae said. Every night I hear the building falling. I hear him screaming. And yet you stayed silent, Soo-jin replied. He nodded. Yes. The word carried all the weight he'd avoided. I was weak, he continued. I chose my career over lives. Soo-jin's jaw tightened. Say his name. Min-Jae looked up. What? My brother, she said. Say his name. He swallowed hard. Han Jun-suk. Her eyes filled. Say you failed him. I failed him, Min-Jae whispered. The room felt like it might break open. Soo-jin closed her eyes, exhaling a breath she'd held for 15 years. That's all I wanted. Min-Jae collapsed to the floor, sobbing openly. I'm sorry, he cried. I'm so sorry. Soo-jin watched him. No satisfaction. No triumph. Just exhaustion. I didn't come to forgive you, she said. I came so you would stop hiding. She turned to Yoon-Hee. Take your money. Use it to expose what happened. Yoon-Hee nodded. I will. That night Min-Jae slept. For the first time in years there were no screams. In the morning, sunlight filled the room gently. Min-Jae woke with tears already on his face, not from terror but relief. She's gone, he said softly. No, Yoon-Hee replied. She's free. Days later the story broke. Documents leaked. Names surfaced. Companies paid fines. Apologies were issued too late. Min-Jae resigned publicly. I approved changes I shouldn't have, he said before cameras. People died. I will carry that forever. Yoon-Hee stood beside him, her grip firm. At home that night Min-Jae whispered, Why didn't you leave me? Yoon-Hee answered without hesitation. Because you finally told the truth. Weeks passed. The nightmares never returned. Min-Jae began volunteering, speaking to young engineers about ethics and fear. One evening Yoon-Hee received a message. I can sleep now too. She smiled faintly. Some wounds didn't heal with money. They healed with truth. The house felt different after that night. Not lighter. Not happier. Just quieter in a way that didn't suffocate. Min-Jae moved through the mornings slowly now, as if relearning how to exist without fear chasing him. He still woke early but no longer drenched in sweat, no longer whispering apologies to the dark. One morning he stopped at the doorway before leaving for a speaking engagement and turned to Yoon-Hee. I don't deserve you, he said. She didn't look up from her coffee. That's not for you to decide. He nodded, accepting it the way a man accepts a lifelong sentence. The press eventually moved on. Another scandal replaced theirs. Another apology filled the headlines. But Min-Jae kept his promise. He stood in front of rooms full of young professionals and told them exactly how fear turns into blood when silence is chosen. Courage is expensive, he would say. But cowardice costs lives. At night, Yoon-Hee sometimes caught him staring at the ceiling. What are you thinking about? She asked once. About how close I was to dying without ever being honest, he replied. She reached for his hand. You didn't. No, he said. You dragged me back. Months later, Yoon-Hee found herself standing in front of the old construction site. The building had been rebuilt, taller, cleaner, pretending the past had never happened. She placed flowers at the edge of the sidewalk, unnoticed by anyone passing by. I'm sorry, she whispered, though she wasn't sure who she was apologizing for. That evening she received one final message. I'm leaving the country. I don't need to look back anymore. Thank you for not trying to buy my silence. Yoon-Hee typed, then erased several replies before settling on one sentence. Thank you for surviving. She put the phone down and leaned back, eyes closing. For the first time she understood something money had never taught her. Some debts could only be paid with truth and some bargains should never involve cash. That night Min-Jae slept soundly. No screams. No names. Just breathing. Yoon-Hee lay awake beside him, watching the rise and fall of his chest, knowing that love wasn't about possession or protection. It was about standing in the fire with someone and refusing to look away. And if this story reminded you that some truths are worth facing even when they hurt, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uncover the secrets people hide the deepest. Because sometimes, the loudest cries happen in silence, and someone has to be brave enough to listen.